Yes, Aditi ma'am, you can start now.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Aditi Achrekar, Assistant Manager of Latest Technology Workshop Company. I, along with my team, welcoming all the participants and our guest speaker, Mrs. Neha Malhotra, for today's session. Today, we are presenting the topic time management. We welcome our presenter for today, Mrs. Neha Malhotra, ma'am. She is a leadership trainer with a decade of experience with Indian Air Force as an air traffic controller, involved in facilitating incident-free flying, crisis management, decision making, problem solving, and most important, working under pressure. As a leadership trainer, she conducted leadership development programs by leveraging the unique life experience that helped her chart out her career and pursue her dreams. She is also working as a training consultant for MSME to build a culture of ownership. Over to you, ma'am. You can take the session further.
Thank you so much, Aditi, for such a nice introduction. So
Welcome, ma'am.
good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to talk a little bit about time management. Now, before I start talking about time management, I would just like to clarify one point that it is not time that we manage, it is us we need to manage. So it's more about self-management than time management. And believe me, even I was not a person who was very well managed as a student or as a child. I think where I learned this lesson of time management was in the Air Force Academy. So we used to have, on a regular basis, we used to have something called Patti Parade, where in the middle of the night, there used to be a siren when we were supposed to just run across and go and assemble at the assembly point. And that's when we were given time limit. So we were told that, within 2 minutes, everybody needs to be there. And then we were told to change into another pair of uniform, go back and report back again within 2 minutes. So we were given time, sometimes 1 minute, sometimes 2 minutes, depending on what kind of rig we are supposed to wear. So that is the time when we realized that we can actually do a task in much less time than we actually spend our time doing. And that's how we improve our productivity. And that was to do with self-management and not time management, because time remains constant. It does not change. What needs to change is us. So the challenges that we face because we are not able to manage ourselves in the given time, I'm going to share that with you first. So some of the challenges I'm sure all of us face is we are unable to meet the deadlines, because of which we get stressed, because of which we are unable to give time to our hobbies. We have no free time for ourselves, and ultimately it makes us unhappy. Now, today we are going to talk about the solutions that we can start implementing to overcome these challenges so that we are able to spend more time on our hobbies and we do not get stressed out. So the solutions that we are going to talk about today are: number 1, planning; number 2, prioritizing; number 3 is taking action. Now, a lot of us already know that how we need to plan, how do we prioritize, but the challenge is that we don't take action. So today here, even if you learn the technique of how to plan and then how to prioritize, but you don't take action, you don't implement those tips or techniques, it will not help you anyways, right? So whatever we learn in life, whether it is in college or school, or any hacks that we learn, they are to be implemented, and only then will you get the results. And one solution here is a few productivity hacks. I would say that there are so many productivity hacks these days that I have come across. I am sure that even you would have come across some productivity hacks, that how can you do a task in much lesser time than, than the longer time, or how do you get more time for yourself? So there are a lot of productivity hacks which are linked with artificial intelligence and technology. The only thing is we should know how to utilize it. So moving on to the first solution, that is planning. A lot of us think that if we sit down and start planning our day, I will waste a lot of my time. But believe me, the research has shown that if you spend 10% of your time on planning your day, you will have to put 90% less effort while you are doing it, only if you plan it well. Now, the challenge is that how we plan things, I think, is we just make a to-do list. A lot of people don't even do that. But if you are already making a to-do list, I will tell you that how you should ideally be making a to-do list, because most people, when they make a to-do list, they just write pointers over there, wherein they themselves don't know whether it is an actionable point or not. And that's why you tend to procrastinate. You don't do that task. Okay. So I'm going to explain to you step by step that how you should be doing or planning your day. Now, planning ideally should be done annually, like a year plan, which should be broken down into quarterly plans, whether you are a student or you are in a business or you are doing, you are working for someone. Whatever it is, I think it's always good to have an annual plan, breaking it down into quarterly plan, breaking it further down to a month plan, weekly plan, and then a day's plan. But today, I am going to talk only about a day's plan, because that is very much implementable and you can take immediate actions over here. So the step number 1 is you must write down the goals for the day. What is it that you are trying to achieve that particular day? What are these top 3 things or 2 things that if you do would help you achieve this week's goal, which will have maximum impact on your week's goal? So start by writing down top 3 goals for the day. Step number 2, now make a to-do list. Here, I'm talking about a list of tasks, anything that comes to your mind you are supposed to do. So don't think about whether I should be doing it now or maybe later. Just write down everything. The idea of step number 2 is to declutter your mind so that it does not remain at the back of your mind that I have to do that also. Whether it's your personal thing or it's a professional thing or it's about studies, let it be anything. Once you have decluttered your mind by putting down everything on the paper, your mind is free to think on how to take that action. Otherwise, when you are doing an action or you are implementing something, then something is going on at the back of your mind. But if you write it down in your to-do list, you will not have to do that. Step number 3, choose only those tasks from to-do list that will help you achieve that day's goal. Don't think about tomorrow's goals or day after tomorrow's goal. For today, just stick to this. Now, how would you do that is, what list you created in step number 2, you will start writing, to be done today. You'll do a tick mark, or however you want to do it. You can have colored marking, something that can be carried forward. You can put a date ahead, something that you can just delete it. We will do that in the prioritization part also. So now you need to start cutting down on your to-do list at what is not to be done today. And the step number 4 is, sometimes we have a task which is actually a time-consuming task. Okay, and it requires certain steps in itself. So it's always a great idea to just jot down the notes for it, that in this particular task, I have to do this. And that's how you create notes. Here is a planner that I have been using for quite some time, and I found it quite useful. So if you like the idea, I would say first write down the top 3 goals of the day, create a schedule for yourself, have a to-do list. Then you must have, important emails or calls that you need to make. If you are a student, I'm sure you would have some important submissions to be done. So you must write it down over here. Right now we are operating virtually. I'm sure you have to do the submissions. So whatever submissions you need to do, I think it's a great idea to have a separate list for that. So this is something that I have been using. Now, if you are watching it live, I would suggest that whatever steps I'm talking about right now, just after the session ends, you must make a to-do list, set the goals for yourself, and do whatever you are told to do. And if you are watching a recorded video, please pause here and do the actions you have been told to do till now if you really want to learn time management. Moving on to prioritization. Now, you have already planned your day. The challenge is, now how do I prioritize? I have a list of 20 things to do, and I know that I can't complete it in a day, right? So I just told you also that in the step number 3, you actually need to cut down on the things that you need not do. In prioritization, I will help you understand that how do you prioritize? So the major challenge why we are not able to prioritize is because we don't understand the difference between important tasks and not important tasks. So it's important to understand that what's the difference between important and not important tasks. So an important task is a task which will have a consequence of not doing on your goal for the day. If a task does not have any consequence of not doing it on the goal for the day, that means that task is not important for today. Okay, and that's how we prioritize. So there is a wonderful rule which is called a 80-20 rule or a Pareto's principle. It is applicable in every area of our life, whether you are a student or you are a business person or you are a professional. Please remember one thing, that 20% of our actions will give 80% of the results. Therefore, whenever you choose to do actions, please see to it that they have an impact on the result you want. So when you are prioritizing, please see to it that this action that I have chosen to do as the first thing of the day, does it have enough impact on the result that I'm expecting or the goal that I'm trying to accomplish? So there's a wonderful book by Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog, in which he has explained that you must eat the first ugly frog as the first thing in the day, which means that you must do the most difficult or the ugliest work the first thing in the day. Because once you have done that, you will yourself be so relieved that you would not really require too much of energy to do rest of the tasks. And what we tend to do generally is we do a task, we always leave the task that we don't like for the end. And that's why we keep delaying it. And we don't realize that actually that task was the most important task to have a result or a major result or an outcome. Now, this is a matrix which is created by author of the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. I must say that this is a wonderful matrix that he has created for us to understand that where we stand right now in respect to managing ourselves in life. Okay, so this matrix basically is made up of 2 aspects: important tasks, not important tasks, urgent tasks and not urgent tasks. So whatever task is urgent and important would come in quadrant number 1. Okay, so this is a crisis quadrant where you are always trying to firefight. You are trying to meet up with whatever you have not really done earlier. So any assignment which was given probably a week ago or a month ago, or an exam for which you did not prepare, I think all of us have really gone through the stage that we have prepared for our exams at the last moment. We have done the submissions and we are doing our assignment at the last moment. If this is what we have done, certainly we have been in quadrant number 1. Now, the challenge with quadrant number 1 is that it stresses us out. If you always remain in quadrant 1, that your task is urgent now because tomorrow is exam, so I have to study today anyways. But there is so much to study that I don't know what I should study and what I should leave. This is the most common problem among students, right? And therefore, they tend to get stressed, and whatever they had or they could have studied also, they are unable to study. Okay, so anything that is a crisis situation, it's a pressing problem, there has been some kind of fire. So there can be emergency situations like there has been a fire somewhere. That is okay. That is something that's not in your hand. The things that were in your hand, actually you could have done them earlier. Okay, so moving on to quadrant number 2. Quadrant number 2 is important but not urgent tasks. Okay, so that means you could have actually done preparation for them. You could have prevented coming to a crisis situation. You could have done planning earlier. Even if you are doing relationship building, see, spending time on relationship building is also very important. It does not mean you just have to work, or you have to just study. You have to schedule a time for everything if we want to have an overall development. So spending time even on your relationships is a part of your time, your life. True recreation, any kind of activity that you are doing, which is your hobby, you are learning a new skill, spending time over there again is true recreation, and it comes in quadrant number 2. So it is a good thing to do that. This quadrant is called quadrant of quality. Even if you are teaching something to someone, that is called empowerment. So for example, you have a team and you are trying to explain something to them, or you are trying to help a friend or explain her something. You are empowering that person. If you are doing that, you are not wasting your time. Okay, so this is a quadrant where ideally we should be most of the time. Then comes quadrant number 3. Quadrant number 3 is called a quadrant of deception, where the task appears to be urgent and it also appears to be important, but actually it is not important. Anyone interrupting you while you are doing some kind of work, whether they walk into the room or they call you, or there are WhatsApp messages, or there is social media distraction, all these distractions are not important. We get a call from a friend who says, let's go out for a movie. And I first say, no, I'm doing some kind of work. But then the friend, does some little bit of emotional blackmail. And then we're like, okay, you have to, keep the relationship also. So we forget about what is my priority. Okay. And that's the problem. Now, it appears to be urgent, but it is not important. So this is a quadrant where you should ideally try and not go. And you would realize it only when you have self-awareness that this is just an interruption for me. First, I finish my work because that is more important, and then I will do this, or I'll call up my friend and tell him or her that, okay, now we can watch a movie or we can go out for a movie. And quadrant number 4 is called quadrant of wastage. We just waste our time in this quadrant. We are watching too much of TV, too many movies, too much of Netflix. We are on phone calls all the time. We are just wasting time, or we are just trying to escape from something which is important, but we don't like it. And I think it is very common to do escape activities when we are in school or college, because I'm sure there are a lot of subjects that probably we don't enjoy studying. And to avoid that, we just try to escape from it. Okay, so yes, these are the 4 quadrants, it's a very important part of productivity. So why we want to manage our time or manage ourselves is actually to increase productivity, right? So this is a quadrant which will help you become more productive if you majorly remain in quadrant number 2. So here again, Those who are watching this live, after we end the session, you must do this activity on drawing the 4 quadrants and seeing that where do you lie most of the times. What are the activities that you are doing most of the time in the day? It will help you understand you are in which quadrant. And those of you who are watching the recording, you can just pause the video and do this activity. It will help you understand where you stand right now and how can you go to quadrant number 2. This is another method called ABCD method of prioritization, where A means if a task is rated as A, that means you must do this task. If not done, it will have major consequences on your goals or outcomes. If you assign it as priority B, then it is a should do task. That is, if not done, it will have mild consequences on the outcome. If you have assigned priority C, it is a nice to do task, but it will have no consequences on the outcome. If it is priority D, then it means you can delegate that task. Delegate means you can give that task to somebody else. What happens sometimes is that if we are working in a team on a project, someone who has taken up the responsibility of that or is a group leader, she thinks that, she will be able to do everything. And because everyone in the group is very happy that, she'll do everything, they also don't come and tell that, okay, we will do this, we will do that. I want this particular female who has decided that she'll do everything, please start delegating. It will give you more time to do other things. So yes, it is important to know that if I'm doing a project, what is it that I can delegate to somebody else depending on what is my strength and what is the strength of my team members. And if it is a priority E, that means it need not be done at all. So you should eliminate that thing from your list. Now, A and B can further be divided into A1, A2, and A3 priority, B1, B2, and B3 priority. So whenever you have a list, you can always write in front of that A1, A2, two things or tasks can also be A1. So there is even an app which helps you do this prioritization. So you must look out for such apps. I have been using this app which helps me apply ABCD method, and it's quite useful. Yeah. Moving on to one of the most important topics, that is procrastination. What is procrastination? Now, if I talk about procrastination, it is an escape measure. We do not want to do something, and that's why we are postponing it, we are delaying it, or we are just escaping from it. When you procrastinate, you are actually moving from quadrant number 1 and 2 to quadrant number 3 and 4. And this challenge is there with almost all of us. Now, I would like to tell you that all the human beings, all of us, we have a rational decision maker in our minds. Okay, so we want to do it, really. But along with this rational decision maker, we also have an instant gratification monkey. Now, what is instant gratification monkey? Instant gratification monkey is a monkey which keeps jumping in our mind because that monkey wants an instant result. So instant gratification actually means if I do something, I should see a result. And that's why you would have realized that when you're playing video games or a sport, or you are doing an activity which gives you instant results, you tend to get more engaged in those activities and you like to end them. You like to work on them. But when it comes to exam studies or doing an assignment, you take time or you keep postponing it because you know that you are not going to get instant results. I have an examination a month later and I think, okay, I have a month in hand. Yeah? But then I plan that, okay, I must do something about it. I should make a plan. I start studying and that instant gratification monkey comes in and tells me, no, let us watch a YouTube video. Let's play a game. This is so boring. And that's how the instant gratification monkey takes over your mind of rational decision maker, and you are unable to do the task that you wanted to do. Okay, so that's the science behind procrastination. Now, the psychologists have found that we procrastinate because we don't find any emotional connect with something that has to be achieved a month later or maybe sometime later in life. And that's why we just tend to delay things. Now, I'll give you a wonderful example which is apt for the students and the college students. So you get a paper that is to be submitted, say a month later, and you create a plan like this. So you plan that in week 1, I'm going to do this much of work. In week 2, I'm going to do this much of work. And week 3, I'll do this much. And week 4, I'll do this much of work. You think that ways, but ultimately what happens is, this is what you do. You do everything in the end, on the last day. Now, what happens when you do this? 1, the quality gets deteriorated. You will not be able to produce a kind of paper you would have actually produced if you would have been working for some time now. You wouldn't really have the kind of in-depth knowledge about the topic that you have worked on. And obviously, the outcome or the result you were expecting would not be there. And what will happen next, I'm sure most of you know that. So here I'm going to share with you a secret. There are 9 ways to beat procrastination. And I will share with you those ways and you must start applying them. Now, we have already spoken about that matrix that I told you. We have spoken about prioritization, and therefore, I would say you will be able to find out what are the tasks that I can delete from my to-do list, what are the tasks that I can delegate to my team, what are the tasks that I have to do it because they will have 80% of, they will give me 80% of the result for my goal. So here you use the Pareto's principle, the 80-20 principle or rule, that this is the task I have to do because this will have a major consequence. One thing I want to tell you is you may not know everything. Okay, so it's important that you ask for advice also from people. Never think that why I don't know. If I ask, somebody is going to judge me. I don't know if they will help me. If you think that, then you've already given up. Okay, so one thing is start asking for advice. Sometimes what happens is that you are not able to do a task and therefore you tend to delay it. You start procrastinating instead of asking that person. So go and ask for help and then chop it up. So chop it up actually means that if you have a big project, then you must break it down into small pieces and then you start working on them. Now, why does 15-minute rule come after that is that when you chop it up in a size that you are able to complete that task in 15 minutes. So as per research, you can or you actually tend to finish a task when you know that I just have 15 minutes of slot to work on it, especially for the tasks that you find boring. Then comes clear deadline. It is important to have a deadline. Otherwise, you will never be able to achieve what you are trying to achieve. A goal means there is a deadline. If I give myself a deadline that by Monday 3 p.m., I will finish this presentation that I am making, only then will I actually work towards it. But if I say that, okay, the submission is on Wednesday and I can do it by Tuesday, and then I realize that I get more work to do from the college or school and at the workplace. So ultimately, the challenge comes, I am not able to do anything and I get stressed out. So yes, it's important to have a clear deadline. You will certainly come down on the level of procrastination that you do. and then start rewarding yourself. Again, reward yourself, especially for the things that you don't like to do. If you do something that you don't enjoy doing, reward yourself with something that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be a materialistic thing. It can be anything. Maybe watching a YouTube video, maybe playing a video game, maybe chatting with a friend, anything it can be. Now, removing distractions. I must say that distractions are so many these days because of technology. We are not using technology to our advantage, actually. What we are doing is that we are becoming slave of technology. And that's why we get so distracted. And I will tell you how you can remove distractions when we move a little further. Now, why we procrastinate is because we do not have clarity, either of them. Either I don't have clarity about how a task is to be done, or I have no plan how it is to be achieved, or I have no clear goals. There are no deadlines. There are no to-do lists. So these are the things you must first start doing. And then what I just shared with you, the hacks you must do them for avoiding procrastination. Now, switch tasking is a very interesting topic, and I would like to share with you all. A lot of us say that we do multitasking, and we don't realize that it is not actually multitasking, it is switch tasking. Multitasking is when I'm doing something of which the outcome would remain the same. So let me give an example. When I'm driving a car or a bike, I am doing a lot of things there also. You know, I am accelerating, I'm using the brake, I'm using clutch, I'm changing the gear, and I'm looking out also. And I have a steering wheel also when we talk about driving a car. But the ultimate goal is to drive. So the outcome remains the same, but there are different activities that I'm doing there to achieve that outcome. That's called multitasking. Switch tasking is when I'm driving the car and I'm also talking on phone. So your brain cannot remain at or focus on one thing at a time when you are doing two different kinds of things. So it is told that switch tasking is a thief. And therefore, please stop switch tasking. It will, believe me, it will give you more time than you have right now, and you will be more productive. If I talk on phone and drive the car separately, probably I will be able to focus on both. Okay. So these are some of the productivity tips I would like to share with you all. Number one, stop switch tasking. Don't do 3 or 4 things together. When you are studying and you are watching a movie, believe me, if you do the 2 things separately and you time out, you would take less time to actually study if you are only studying. And this is something that research has proven. And I'm not just talking about studying. It is there for everyone, even working professionals. Fix social media and WhatsApp checking times. Keep your phone away from you when you are studying or you're working. Switch off the notifications. There should be a particular time when you switch on the notifications, or you just go there and you get what all notifications you have got till now. Unsubscribe from invaluable newsletters. Unnecessarily, you need not subscribe to too many things. If you have and you don't need them, please unsubscribe. You will unnecessarily open it and check it. And please start using technology to your benefit instead of making it your slave. There are a lot of apps which are like self-control apps, productivity apps, planning apps. Start using them for your benefit. I personally don't use it because I use it sometimes, especially for prioritization. However, when it comes to a to-do list, I prefer a paper pen because I generally keep my phone away when I'm working. And if you keep your phone away and suddenly you realize I need to check my to-do list and you open that up, I'm sure you'll have so many messages and distractions out there that you'll end up opening up WhatsApp and social media, and then there'll be no use of really doing all this. Yeah. To summarize what we learned in today's session is number one, how to plan. Number two, how to prioritize. Then we learned the tips to overcome procrastination, and we learned a few productivity hacks. Now, if you come across more productivity hacks, I would suggest you must use them, try it out, and you will get to know how helpful they are. Okay. Now, I'm coming up with a 30 days confidence building challenge, which starts on 2nd of September to 1st of October. I have met a lot of people who have a lot of potential, but they still doubt themselves. If you are one of them, believe me, this program can really help you. For more details, you can connect with me on the number given on this particular slide, or you can also check out latest technology workshop YouTube link, and you will find the more details about it. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I am open for that.
I guess, ma'am, you are very much crystal clear about the management of time. So many of are asking your YouTube channel so that they can subscribe.
Thank you so much. So I think I have shared it already. Probably you can share it further. Thank you so much.
Oh, ma'am, sure, ma'am.
Soma sir,
Ma'am, there is one question from
Yes.
Rahul Verma. Ma'am, how to manage multiple courses or tasks on same time? Means how to do multitasking in short.
I think I just told you that multitasking is just a myth, and it is called switch tasking. What you are talking about, you have to focus on one thing at a time. Believe me, Rahul, if you make a list of 25 goals that you have, and if I ask you what are your top 5 goals, believe me, they will be the only goals that you would actually be wanting to achieve. We keep getting a lot of ideas that we want to implement. We want to do a lot of things. Ideally, we don't realize that why am I doing it? So first you understand that what is it, what are the courses that you want to do? And then ask yourself, why do I want to do these courses? And which ones are top priority for me? We all have same amount of time, and we need to understand that we should ideally only take as much on our platter as we can do. Otherwise, we will be stressed out. I hope I've answered his question, Akash.
There is one more question, ma'am. How to make
Okay, Soma, if I've understood correctly, you're asking how to make a to-do list, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So to-do list is, I would say, just take paper and pen and start writing whatever comes to your mind is to be done, because your to-do list only you would know, right? So first write down whatever is to be done, and then link it up with the goals that you have set for yourself. I covered in the beginning that the first thing you need to do is you should know your goals. What is it that you are trying to achieve today? And only then you will get to know that what are the things that on my that should remain on my to-do list, and what are the things I need to strike off my to-do list. I hope I have been able to clarify.
It's a very funny question asked by Swapnil, Mr. Swapnil. College lecture attendance is compulsory, and I want to achieve my personal goals at others' side. How?
Okay, so maybe you are in the wrong place then. Probably the course you are doing is not linked with your goal in life. And probably you need to look into your career aspect once again, Swapnil. I probably will not be able to guide you here without knowing that why you don't want to attend those classes. Of course, it happens that what we are doing, we don't like all the subjects. And if that is the reason, I think I can give you a great example. I always wanted to join Air Force and I wanted to be a pilot actually. Unfortunately, I could not achieve that dream. And just because I wanted to be a pilot, I found out that doing physics honors or maths honors was compulsory. That was not a subject I used to enjoy, but I did a 3 years degree course only because I had a goal to achieve. So it depends on what is your goal and how you have linked it up. So what used to motivate me to study was achieving my ultimate goal. So Swapnil, that is what I can share with you with the question that you have.
He is also saying that college domain and personal goals are the same.
Then he has to probably share that. Then why he doesn't want to attend the classes? Probably I'll have to take that up separately then.
There is one more question.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask?
Sure, sir.
Ma'am, there is one more question by Miss Preet. Ma'am, I wanted a cricket player. What I can do? I wanted to become a cricket player. I guess what I can do.
You can become a cricket player. That is more linked to your goals in life. Now, see, somebody asking me that I want to become a president of India, I would say, okay, take action towards doing that. But that's more towards goal setting, choosing or deriving your career goals. Please analyze first that amongst your team or amongst your peers, are you the best? Have you played nationals? How many times have you played nationals? How good you are? Where do you stand right now? So there are a lot of questions that you need to ask. It actually comes under career counseling when you decide what you want to become.
Ma'am, one more question. How to overcome distraction and stay focused while doing multitasking?
Again, the word multitasking has come. Okay. First and foremost, if you multitask, you will not be able to achieve what you are trying to achieve. Now, to remain focused, I would say first and foremost thing is start setting goals. If I share my own example, the days I write down my goals, that I have to probably create a PPT, I have to make 4 videos. I'm giving you an example. And that is the day I'm much more productive than I am on the other days. So when you give yourself a deadline that I have to finish this task by 4 p.m. today, there are chances that you will work towards them and you will be focused. So I always if I know that in an hour's time, I have to finish what I'm doing, I will keep my phone away. I don't know which distraction you are talking about, but for me, I think the biggest distraction commonly these days is a phone, which has all the apps. So if you switch off your data card and you keep the phone away from you, probably, I think you should keep it in a different room altogether. Believe me, you don't touch that phone for 2 hours, you will be able to achieve much more than what you achieve right now. I hope I could answer them. Yes, Sama.
There are 2 questions which are same. How can we connect with you in personal talk?
Okay, so I think Soma, you can take that up personally. Maybe you can share my email address. I'll share it with you. Probably you can get in touch with Latest Technology Workshop and I'll share my details with them. And my number was mentioned on that slide that I had shared. So anyone who wants to connect with me for that confidence building program, you can directly connect with me on that number.
Ma'am,
Soma,
there
you
is a question saying, there is a question being asked like college courses are there for around 3 hours per day, which is theory, and I am seeking some practical knowledge in same domain, and I am getting messed up while dealing with both at the time.
Okay, good question. So I would say that we all have a different learning style. Some of us learn by reading, some of us learn by watching, and some of us learn by doing things. So probably you are in a category where you learn more by doing things. It is okay, but you understand that when we are a part of an education system, it is important to study. Why I can connect so well with what you are saying is even I was quite similar. Even I never enjoyed really the theory part. However, since it's a part of our curriculum, we can't really avoid it. I would say that you should study, and when you study, try to implement those things if they are implementable. If they are not implementable, then probably you need to learn those things on your own that you want to do, which are linked up with this. So this is something we can't really change because it's a part of education system. Or probably, now since you're already in college, and that's why our education system is gradually changing, where at least in IB boards, we have different techniques of teaching. So I completely understand. I'm sure it's not just you. Most of the people here have this challenge that they like to do the practical stuff and not as much the theory.
Ma'am, there is one question: when we can be more productive during what day of time? I mean, to gain maximum product.
So I have realized a lot of people say that it is in the morning hours. Uh, a lot of people actually say 5 a.m. and there is actually a science behind it that when you wake up 5 a.m. in the morning and you exercise and you work, those are the 3-4 hours of the day when you're most productive. I have realized that there are people who are not very productive if they wake up early in the morning. So I think all of us have different times of productivity. For myself, if you ask me, the most productive time is morning only, but it's not like early morning. So as per research, when we wake up in the morning, those 2-3 hours are really productive, and we should ideally put in effort to do maximum in those 2-3 hours. But I have seen people who have been really productive even while working in the night, like for 2 hours. But yes, if you ask me, as per research, the most productive time is the first 2-3 hours of you waking up in the morning.
Ma'am, this is the question you need to answer. In one day, how many hours we can study?
Can you please repeat that question, Soma?
In one day, how many hours we can study?
I think again it varies. It's a wonderful question. There will be people who can't study more than an hour in a day. There will be people who can study 8 hours in a day. I think it completely depends on an individual that how much can you study. There are people who study 14 hours. So are you a scientist or you want to just play cricket? What you want to become in life is something that is linked up with this. So it's a question that can be answered specifically if you know what you want to achieve. Soma, any more questions?
No, ma'am. I guess we all are cleared, very much cleared. There is one more question: how to manage our daily routine?
I think that's what the whole session was about, how to manage your routine. So I would say that first and foremost, you make a time log that how you are spending your time right now. And once you make a time log of how much of time are you spending on each activity in a day, you will be able to understand that where you are wasting time. Okay, so your daily routine, I just told in the beginning that you set goals for the day and then you plan and then you prioritize and you start your day. You have to start taking action once you have prioritized. I hope I understood the question right.
Ma'am, there is one more. I guess this is the problem, not the
Hmm?
question. Asked by Swapnil, Mr. Swapnil. I have
Hmm?
got so much things to do, like to-do list goes on and on. I'm not able to concentrate all of it one beam or in mannered way.
Okay. Swapnil, I would again tell you the same thing. So, what I told you, that you make a list of 25 goals that you have, that dreams or goals that you want to achieve, and please think about it. If I tell you, Swapnil, that pick up only 5 of them that you have to do and will have maximum result, believe me, those 20 can be deleted completely. Just try doing this. See, we need to do the activities that we learn, otherwise we won't understand. And this is not something that I have come up with. This is something that Warren Buffett has used this technique with a lot of people himself, and that's his way of being more productive. So when we write down, we have enough things in our mind, and I'm sure that in the college and in school time, we are full of ideas. We want to learn a lot. We want to expand our horizon, and it's more with one person than some than most of them. So Swapnil, probably you are a person who likes to expand his horizon. It's great you want to do that, but I don't want you to get stressed out because of that. And therefore, I'm telling again, make a list of 25 goals you want to achieve, and then think about it, which 5 you really, really want to achieve. And believe me, you can cut the 20. And probably, you can think about them sometime later once you've achieved these 5. Otherwise, you will not be able to achieve anything. It is better to achieve at least 5 goals instead of not achieving 25.
Ma'am, one more question. How to be mentally prepared for target and how to overcome laziness while working? Means I postpone my task on tomorrow or the another day.
I would say the whole question revolves. The solution to this problem is, please start setting goals. I think you need to now. I need to conduct a workshop on goal setting for this. So there's a technique of setting goals also. If you set the goals in the right way, then you will certainly not procrastinate as much as you are procrastinating right now. So you must have a deadline when you set a goal. The goal should be very specific. I want to complete 2 chapters. I'm giving you an example. I will complete chapter number 3 and 4 of, say, physics between 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. or till between 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., whatever. When you become so specific with a goal, the chances are high. Now, this is a challenge you have posed to yourself, that by 5 p.m. I have to finish this stuff. And that is when the laziness will become. Secondly, it is important when you create your schedule for the day, you also schedule the breaks. I think I missed out that part in the session today. Breaks are very important. So if you have studied for half an hour, you must take a break for 5 minutes. I hope I've answered that, Soma.
Okay, ma'am. There is a question how to implement our time to generate a passive income.
To generate a passive income.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then you have to schedule that slot, that in this particular hour, I will only work towards whatever business or income I want to really generate. Passive income also doesn't come just by just sitting, unless you are a sleeping partner in your business. That either you have to not put time or you have to put time. If you have to put time, only then this question is relevant with time management. Then I would say you should put across an hour in a day and make a slot that maybe from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. I'll only work on this. Or maybe 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'll only work on this.
Ma'am, one question is been asked many times by Ms. Preet. Ma'am, I can't concentrate on one thing.
Okay. Pete, I think again I would say that goal setting will really help. And since you have asked that question, again, there's a technique which is called Pomodoro technique, where you hyper focus on a task or study for 20 minutes with a stopwatch. So for 20 minutes, you are only working, and the stopwatch, switches off or the alarm rings after 20 minutes. You just stop that task wherever you are, no matter what. And then you take a break of 3 minutes. And I would suggest that when you schedule your breaks, schedule to do something that rejuvenates you or energizes you. Maybe some kind of exercise, maybe watching something comedy, or maybe talking to someone in the house, which actually produces some hormones where you feel energetic.
One more question by Mr. Kamlesh. It is very difficult to manage goal and routine task. Routine tasks are also important as goal. If we focus on routine task, we'll not get much time to focus on goal. Always goals are going postponed.
So I think then probably the way you are planning is not right. I have covered in the session that the goals come first. Okay, and after you write down your goals, your to-do list or your tasks have to be based on that. And if you are only thinking about a goal which is a long-term goal, then I'm sorry to say that you have to decide what is your goal for the day. Maybe you want to achieve a goal 5 years later, but if you keep thinking about that goal, you will never travel the journey that you have to travel to reach there, right? So it's important that it's good to have a long-term goal. However, to achieve that long-term goal, I'm sure you will have some short-term goals and you'll have some daily goals. If you don't put down that goals, then your to-do list is of no use. Your tasks have to be linked up with your goals. Yes, Soma.
I guess this is the common question by many of the students. Like, which time is perfect for studies? Morning, evening, or night?
If you have time in the morning, I would suggest morning. But then you have to have a good night's sleep. So if you haven't slept and you've slept at 4 o'clock in the morning and you wake up at like 8 o'clock in the morning and you start studying, I'm sure that you wouldn't really be able to be productive. So I think the major challenge these days is that all of you binge watch a lot on Netflix probably and Hotstar, and see the sleep. If you are sleep deprived, you will not be productive at any point of the day. You can take this from writing in me. If your sleep is not completed, you will not be able to be productive at any time of the day. Otherwise, if you ask me, I would say that morning time is the most productive time for study.
Ma'am, I can't concentrate on my study. What I can do, I am sitting 3 times 2 hours.
Don't sit for 2 hours, sit for 20 minutes. With a stopwatch, keep your phone away and have goals. I think by now, we have come across so many questions to which my answer is start setting goals. And if you all are interested, we can organize a workshop on goal setting with me, and I can train you on how you need to set goals. Because whatever questions you are asking requires you to do goal setting.
So I guess, ma'am, there are no more questions right now. So I will ask Mr. Devendra Srivas sir to declare the end.
Thank you, Sona.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful webinar. We really enjoyed a lot and it was very much informative.
Thank you, Mr. Devendra.
Ma'am, there is one more question. Will you love to answer?
Okay, we can take it up.
Ma'am, can you tell about something for public speaking or confidence speaking?
Maybe not over here. I mean, that's a different topic altogether, but what exactly do you want to understand?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's not a relevant question over here. So maybe again, public speaking is a
So, ma'am,
separate topic in itself.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, thank you for this wonderful webinar. We really enjoyed a lot, and thank you for this beautiful session. I guess I will save your presentation personal, even a personal note, because I have taken many much screenshots. Thank you for that, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
It was a privilege to share my knowledge with everyone. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Dear participation, I have given a link to subscribe ma'am channel. Please subscribe that channel, as well as I have given this link in our description box. Please subscribe ma'am channel, and as well as our channel also. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.